You're listening to the Back Home Network, presented by Home Field Apparel.
All right, folks, welcome back. Crimson Cash. We are on a heater. It's time for the college football playoff, and it's time for us to do Crimson Cash. We have to do it because Indiana is playing. Before we get to James, real quick, our two friends, Home Field Apparel, check them out. They're selling both Indiana and they are also selling Notre Dame gear. But why would you buy Notre Dame gear when you can buy Indiana gear? Use the promo code HOME23 to get 15% off your first purchase. And also our friends over at Upland Brewery, where they have the Hoosier Game Day Lager. Check it out. Buy some, bring it up to tailgate at Notre Dame Stadium, and don't bring it in because you're not allowed to do that. But enjoy some before the game, enjoy some after the game when we win. And as always, Upland reminds you to drink responsibly. James, what's up, man? We made it. We made it farther than I think any of us thought possible. We are about to do picks for the college football playoff. What's up?
It all started here. Me getting this free Signetti t-shirt. It's been a great season, man. This is exciting.
Yes.
I can't believe we're picking college football playoff games and IU's involved. So
I know.
This is just fantastic. And little teaser, I've got some good news for Hoosier fans out there, I think. So
did we win? Did you get the DeLorean? Did you go in the future? Do you know what's going to happen?
Look, let me just say that Biff, he knows how to run a casino. So.
He does. I have so many questions about that, but we shouldn't. This is our so many questions about that movie.
That's a different podcast.
It really is. Although, do you know that like one of the scores that they're talking about when Biff is driving in his car, it's an Indiana football score.
There's a lot of odd things. They also predicted a Cubs World Series win too.
Well, they did. But, like he's listening to scores on the radio, and it's like an Indiana game that he's listening to, like the scores.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I thought it was USC for some reason.
You what?
I thought it was a USC game for some reason.
If I remember correctly, it's like Indiana against somebody, but it's like they say Indiana when he's driving the car, like going into the tunnel. The other thing that I would say is
maybe he was listening to Rose Bowl.
Well, no, but that would have been 67. He goes back to 54. The thing is, it's a random. It's not bowl games. Like he's just getting random college football scores from that year.
Oh, okay.
If the almanac has, if you assume it has every college football score from the season, you would also assume it has every NBA, every college basketball, every hockey. If you're talking about a book that has every score from every game from 1950 to 2000, and it's like that big, if you're on video, it's like an inch wide, like that thing would be like 3 phone book sizes.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, there's no way it's fitting in Marty's back pocket.
No, not a chance.
Anyway, we are way off topic. James, let's get to some picks.
Time to move time and space and money and create more money.
All right. We're going to start with SMU at Penn State. Penn State is contractually obligated, I guess, to get the best path in the college football playoff, which at some point they're going to stub their toe. The idea that Penn State's just going to walk through to the semifinal, I think, is a wild thought because they're Penn State. And this is what they're going to do to people. But they are at home. It's not a whiteout. I kept on joking it was going to be a whiteout. They didn't get a home game, so they don't get to do their whiteout. They are at home. They are an 8.5-point favorite against SMU.
Penn State, as we all know all year, I believe them to be frauds, complete and total frauds. They actually looked fairly decent against Oregon. They put up some points, which I did not see.
They did.
We have an over-under of 54 on this game. I think the over is probably going to hit on this one. I think this one might have a lot of points. Doesn't look like it's supposed to snow there. It's a noon game. SMU will be able to put up points on Tom Allen's defense. Why do I know that? Because I've seen every Tom Allen coach defense at IU, and I know for a fact they can't stop a team that does the things that SMU does. So I think SMU scores a lot of points as well. I think they do probably cover 8.5 points. So I will take either SMU plus 8.5. Might look at the over there. Maybe look at some teaser action on either of those. I think you'd be fine.
Next up, you have the team that found the back door to the college football playoff, and they stepped right in. You have Clemson going up against Texas. Texas is a 12-point favorite at home.
Clemson has been interesting this year. Their offense could do nothing at one point, and then they kind of started clicking towards the end of the year. That makes me think that 12 points might just be a bit too much, although I'm worried how that Texas defensive line can get in there. But let's remember, Clemson's also littered with talent. There's a bunch of like highly recruited, ranked, talented guys on that team.
Not portal talent, but recruited talent. Yes.
Yeah, recruited talent, true. And as much as their coach is an asshole, and he is an asshole, he does seem to know how to coach football. So 12 points seems a bit rich for my blood. Give me the road team plus the points here.
All right, finally, Saturday night, you have Tennessee going into Ohio Stadium to play Ohio State. Ohio State finally gets the night game they've been bitching about all season because they don't get those night games. So they get their night game. They'll probably show up and they'll probably win, but they are 7.5-point favorites at home.
So I've done a lot of, I've been on X a lot, checking, what's everybody saying about the college football playoffs? What are the other fans like? The Notre Dame fans are ridiculous, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the most delusional of all of them are Tennessee fans who somehow think they're going to waltz into Ohio Stadium and win this football game. Absolutely delusional, off their rockers, folks. Ohio State's going to win this. They're going to cover. I think Ohio State wins this thing going away. I just don't see how Tennessee can hang with them. I just don't. So I think Ohio State, I actually believe they may be the best team in the country, and they've got some decent odds futures-wise, which we'll also get to a little bit later. But, give me the Buckeyes to roll on this one.
Yeah, that would have been the worst-case scenario is us having to go back to Ohio Stadium. At the
God. No, I want no part of that.
I did not want any of that.
None. No part at all.
All right, well, that's CrimsonCASH. Thank you. Oh, wait, we got one more game. Indiana is playing in a game for the college football playoff, bottom of the bracket. Although you wouldn't know it. Everyone's just penciling in Notre Dame to play Georgia. But at first, they got to play in South Bend. You have Indiana going to South Bend. Notre Dame is, I just saw it on FanDuel at 7. Action Network has it at 7.5. Let me look at the lines in other places. So you can get it for DraftKings at 7. Other places have it at 7.5. Whether Notre Dame is a 7 or a 7.5 point favorite.
Opened at 8.5, just to note.
Yep.
This has seen the largest movement of any of the games, and it's all gone towards Indiana. Okay, a few things here. I've been watching a lot of media content about this, and aside from the Back Home Network, I've only seen, I think it was 1, maybe 2 people think IU even has a chance in the game, let alone to win it. All right. I am here for those of you who are tired of hearing that nonsense, because let's look at some facts here, Scott. All right. I've got my handy dandy note sheet here. Okay.
In this world of fake news, CrimsonCASH is a home for facts. If nothing,
you better believe it, because listen to this list of, everybody wants to talk about, IU hasn't played anybody. All right. A shitty Texas A&M team, Louisville, Miami of Ohio, Purdue, Northern Illinois, Navy, Georgia Tech with a backup quarterback, Stanford, Army, Virginia, Florida State, and USC also with a backup quarterback who put up 35 fucking points against them. This is not a murderer's row they've played. Army and Navy can't even have 300-pound linemen. They'd be kicked out. You think some 6'3", 360 dude is fitting on a sub? Not a chance. Okay? Come on now. This is not a serious football team. They play some soft-ass schedule and think they can just waltz in and everybody's going to love them. Well, guess what? I got news for you, because we played better teams than they've played. And we played a team that's better than them for sure, but we've definitely played better teams than they've played. And so I'm going to say that all this strength of schedule bullshit, Paul Feynman can take his bald head and shove it straight up his bitch ass. That's what I say. All right. Let's get some other things for you here. I use it plus 230 on the money line. How tasty is that? But here's the one I love. Okay. This is my favorite bet on the game. In fact. All right. The team total for IU is at 20.5. 20.5. Now, those of you who've watched IU this year know they score more than that in every single game except for 2, right? So I really, 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 really like that. IU over 20.5 team total. You can get them in either half over 9.5 team total. So you can do a first half over 9.5, which I know Scott's like, oh, give me that. Scott loves his first half bets. So I really like that one.
I'm taking notes of the bets I want to take off of James. Yeah, I like the first half point total.
I'm going to give you a bunch I like here, okay? I'm going to take the Hoosiers on the money line because I think they're going to win this game.
I am too.
I think you want to take them on the spread. You're also fine doing that. You're getting over a touchdown. Get it at 7.5. If you're going to take the spread over the money line, get it at 7.5. Sprinkle a little on the money line at that point. All right. That'll be your emotional hedge, I guess. Do not put money on Notre Dame under any circumstances. That's bad mojo, and we don't want to introduce that into the universe. All right.
Not for college football playoff.
No, we can't do that. All right. So I'm going to be taking the Hoosiers there. Now, let's look at some player props here, okay?
Oh.
Now, not everybody can do player props. In fact, Congress is hurriedly trying to take away your ability to do it, I'm guessing, because they were talking about it recently. So if you are able to, here's some that I like. We have the Notre Dame tight end, Mitchell Evans. Not our Mitchell Evans, their Mitchell Evans. Over 27.5 receiving yards. I think almost every tight end IU has played this year has gotten that. We just seem to give up some receptions to the tight ends. I think it's just how our cover 3 scheme works. Taylor Lehman would have to probably correct me on that, but it feels like that. So if you want to take something pro Notre Dame or toss something in a single game parlay just to really boost up some odds, that might be one you can do. But there's some Hoosier props that I really like too. We have Keshawn Williams over 20.5 receiving yards, which seems incredibly low considering his recent production. Curtis Rourke, 198.5 over under passing yards. He averages 235.6 a game, which is pretty darn good. And Notre Dame averages giving up 196.4 a game.
Okay.
Let's also remember they played nobody. Northern Illinois, not passing the ball. Navy and Army, not passing the ball. Georgia Tech, not passing the ball. I mean, they played a lot of run-first teams, and they still give up almost 200 yards passing a game. I think Rourke, one other tidbit that I did find fascinating, I listened to this on Pro Football Focus, their college football playoff show, the highest-rated passer in the last 3 years of college football, November or later, is one Curtis Rourke, the Maple Missile. So when the weather gets cold, the Canadian blood starts pumping, it turns to maple syrup, and boy, is it sweet. So ain't nobody going to slow him down, all right? So those are the props that I really like on the game as far as like player props go. I really love that team total. Take whichever one of these you like. Parlay them up if you want. If you're getting like a single game parlay boost, my guess is there's going to be tons of boosts and little, promos here and there. So take advantage of those things. That's kind of where I'm leaning, where I think this game goes. What worries me a little bit is Notre Dame blitzing a lot and Curtis Rourke getting off his timing and us not being able to handle the blitz.
Right.
I think we've done nothing but work on blitz and crowd noise since that Ohio State game. I've got a feeling, and I think we'll be prepared for it. I think we have the coaching advantage in this game. We have a coach who's familiar with a playoff setup and is just rightfully a really good coach. So I think a lot of things work in our favor here. A crazy officiating call towards the end of the game would worry me some.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have put the thing out of reach by then. Because if it does come down to a final drive, like under 2 minutes and Notre Dame has the ball to win,
They're getting the calls. They're getting
incredibly concerned what may happen at that point. So, but other than that, I think we get up early. I think we force them to have to get off of their game because I think our rush defense will keep them from hitting their marks. And keep them behind the chains. And so Riley Leonard's going to have to beat us. I don't think he can do it. I also think we at least intercept the ball once in this game. So there's a prop out there for that. So if you want to get nuts, I think it happens. I think we're gonna play the zone coverage we normally play. Riley Leonard's not used to it. He's not a thinking man's quarterback. He's a running man's quarterback. All right. So he'll see his one-on-one matchup with his elite wide receiver, who's a 5-star prospect, against some poor midshipman, who's going to be shipped off to, Qatar in a couple weeks. And he just throws the ball up. Right. Okay. That's easy. But when D'Angelo Pons is lurking back there and may just come out of nowhere, it's a little bit harder. So I think that's the game plan. I hope that's how it works out. I don't think weather is going to be a factor at all.
It's just going to be cold. That's all it. I mean, it's just
whatever. And we played in a snow globe against Purdue and put up 66 points. Curtis worked through for 349 yards and 6 touchdowns, albeit against Purdue, but it didn't seem to bother him. If the guy can't throw in cold weather, we probably would have seen that. Also, he's Canadian, so that's just a stupid thing, anyways, for anybody to think.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think Indiana has a lot of advantages. The more I dig into this, and I've been saying this on a bunch of the different pods here, but to me, it's a really lazy take to be like, "Hey, man, the only time Indiana played somebody tough, they lost." It's like because Notre Dame Stadium is not Ohio Stadium. It just isn't, and there's going to be more Indiana fans there than there were at Ohio State. Notre Dame holds like 30,000 people less, and Notre Dame loses at home. They've done it, and honestly, Ohio State doesn't.
Yeah. Unless it's Michigan,
right?
Who, by the way, we beat. So, and we were up 2 touchdowns on them in the first half.
Well, it's so funny with the strength of schedule thing. When Indiana was taking all the arrows for their schedule and who have you played, I'm always like, do Notre Dame now. Like, please, somebody do Notre Dame. Like, look at their schedule because it's like, who have they beaten? But more importantly, who they lose to? Like, talk about their losses at some point. So I'm with you. I was not thoroughly overwhelmed, and I think we have the coaching advantage. And I think for us, the time off, Rourke's thumb being 2 more weeks healed, I think is good. And there's so much available here where if you can get this done, you are the toast of college football for an entire 2-week period.
Oh, absolutely. We'd be the story. It'll be Hoosiers, like the basketball movie, but with the football team. The promos are already writing themselves. Jeremy Gray's got to be having a field day with this.
Yeah.
I really do hope we have a lot of fans show up, but I understand if you don't. That's a lot of money, people.
Prices are going down. Go look. The prices have gone way down compared to where they were.
Well, I know I was offered a ticket to Game 7 of the 2016 World Series for $500. But I would have missed the first couple innings because I got it 2.5 hours before the game was supposed to start or whatever.
Right.
And I didn't pull the trigger. And of course, in my belief, it's the greatest baseball game ever played. But I really enjoyed watching it at home with my friends and whatnot. Right. So I didn't feel like I totally missed out on that. And so this one, $500 in that weather. Yeah. I'm fine. My dad's going to come over. We're going to watch it together. The 2 games we've watched this year together, we've won a combined 113-10. So this is good luck for us. So just keep that in mind.
I was going to stay home. We did not get tickets, and I wasn't going to spend that much. I was just going to be hard to find care and all that. And then a good friend of mine had 4 tickets, and they had 2 that they were not going to use. They're not awesome. They're in the upper section.
Wow.
But I don't think there's a bad seat at Notre Dame Stadium. So we're upper section. We're up by the scoreboard, so we have to kind of turn around to see stuff. But my wife is like, I want to go. I'm like, all right, if you're in, I want to go. So we were getting they were gifted to us. We had to pay nothing for them, so we got 2 tickets.
Did you go to the bucket game?
We did not because it was more the kids. The kids.
I'm still cold from going to the bucket game. It was chilly out that night.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be cold up there. We'll dress warmly. But yeah, I'm excited to go. Never been there. I'm excited to see a game and hopefully see a W.
It is the worst party school I've ever been to, by the way.
And you would know.
If I can talk to Notre Dame, I do know. Notre Dame is, they're about the lamest people ever. I can't imagine that stadium getting too loud from their fans. So maybe we'll have to make it loud.
All right, I'm catching you off guard here, but we have to do this.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Can't finish the season without a Hoosier Hotstreak. You got to hook up. And what's funny is I'm looking at our last Hoosier Hotstreak. You paired up IU with Notre Dame. You had IU with an alt line and a Notre Dame money line. So you would have gotten that. So you need to get 3 this time. I don't think you're going to connect with Notre Dame this time. So you got to pick the IU game and then 2 other games. And they got to be college football playoff games. None of this other bowl game stuff. Other bowl games don't count right now.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a 3-leg teaser then.
Okay.
No.
We won't.
No. We'll take IU plus 7.5. We'll take Ohio State to win. And we'll take Southern Methodist plus 14.5 on an alternate line.
Plus 14.5.
Yeah.
Okay. OSU money line. IU.
You know what? Just take SMU, Ohio State, and IU spreads and do them as a teaser, and you'll get plus 160 odds. So
okay.
that'll get you 6 points on each of those. So you'll get OSU minus 1.5, SMU plus 14.5, and IU plus 13.5 or 13, depending upon where you're at. Do it as a 6-point teaser. On that 3-leg, you'll get plus 160 or plus 170, depending upon the book you're at.
Okay, I like it. All right, man. James, it's been a fun year. It's
been a profitable year. We've been good.
We've had a good year. We've had a really good year. The Hoosier Hotstreak has been awesome. And I look forward to we'll talk in a couple of weeks because we're going to have to do the next round of college football playoffs, right? Because I usually be there.
That was the other thing I was thinking. I could get this ticket to the Notre Dame game, or I could take the wife to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. So who knows? Maybe we'll get to do that.
We have 3 more games after this one that we might have to pay for. So we got some work to do.
Yeehaw, let's do it, man.
All right, James, thanks as always for joining. Everyone out there, as always, thank you for listening. And this is Scott for CrimsonCASH signing off.
Post time.
And goodbye, YouTube.